It's a fourth and final day of NAmm. We're gonna sit down together with Ava and the Vagabonds to hear their story about how they came together. And it's an interesting story that we want to know more about, how they made it in LA. Hi Ava.
Hello.
Really happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here.
I know that you and the Vagabond Tales are from all over the States, and I really want to talk about that. But before we get into it, I'm just curious to know a little bit more about you and the band. So give us the insight into you guys.
So we're a 5-piece band. We've always had different number of musicians. Right now we're 5-piece. We just added our newest addition on upright bass. We met. A lot of us met on Craigslist.
Yeah.
My drummer, who is also like my biggest helper in the band, he was actually our sound guy at this little dive bar. We're from our hometown, and he noticed we needed a drummer, so he auditioned, and he's been drumming with us ever since. But most of us I met on Craigslist. Like for example, Al, my banjo player, and guitar player, he's from Chicago, and he met me on Craigslist when he moved to California. It's kind of like blind dating almost.
Take me through what you did. You just put up an ad?
Yeah, I put up an ad. I put up pictures of us. In the old days, I would put up an ad and just say, hey, if you play bass, let me know. I'm in a band that gigs around the areas. And I would get all kinds of replies, but now I tell them to send a photo, their age, and whether they do drugs or not. No drugs, no, nothing like that.
So you kind of, you learned by...
Yeah, from mistakes.
Yeah. But, so you get the replies in, and where do you go from there?
We audition them, they show up, but my problem has always been that when I audition people, I don't know how to tell them no, so I end up having them in the band for a while, and so that's why this band has gone through over 20 band members already. But this lineup has been a lineup for 2 years, so I'm happy, so I think I found some keepers.
So you just end up having 20 people in the band?
Basically, until somebody has like a meltdown, and then...
And then you're just forced to say, okay, so this is not gonna work out.
Yeah, exactly.
But in a process where you have to, because there has to be some vulnerability to it almost, because you're really putting yourself out there with an ad, just hoping. You gotta have all these mixed feelings about the process, right?
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've had to look on Craigslist for a band member. The last person we looked on Craigslist for was the accordion player, because those are super rare to find.
Yeah.
And the ad was up for a good like 4 months.
Really?
And then she messaged us, and we thought maybe she was like an older lady, because no one plays the accordion. Yeah. And it was kind of scary to ask her, hey, how old are you? And then at the same time, we didn't know, maybe she was underage. She couldn't play at most of the places we play at, so that was kind of scary too.
In that whole process, I guess you kind of picked out some do's and don'ts. What if you had to give a tip to anybody going through that? I have to find somebody, never mind if it's Craigslist, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you use. Is there kind of a pointer to what to do and what not to do?
I think the thing not to do is to not go on Craigslist, but if you absolutely have to, I think the best thing to do would be to ask them to go watch them play first. Maybe have them play at like an open mic or something, or maybe have them play at like if they're in another band, go watch their band first, see how they play, see how they are as a person, and then because that's how I'm very lucky to have met the people I have on Craigslist, the 2 of my bandmates on Craigslist, so I'm happy about that.
Hi guys.
Hello.
You've just been in our touring recording studio / mobile container / weird fish tank aquarium. How was it?
It was amazing.
It was very I could hear everything that was going on. So to be able to hear everything crystal clear, opposed to our practice in the back where we can't really hear everyone all the time, it was very nice.
But you think that the session went well? It was a good recording, and
I think it went great. I think Ashley does such a good job. He just had us mixed right away. I don't know how fast he did it. Usually when we're somewhere, it takes forever for us to get it going, you know, because we have so many instruments. But he did such a good job.
And even outside the container, everyone commented on how full it sounded and how crystal clear it was. So both inside and outside of the container, it was great.
what I would really love to know more about is the whole coming from different places, finding together as that group, and then really quickly having to be a creative force together.
The oldest member, not the oldest member age-wise, but the one who's been around the one who's been around the longest has been Al. And I'm, like I said before, I met Al on Craigslist.
Yeah.
I was looking for a bass player. I only had 2 replies for him. It was one guy with like I think he was called the singing bass player, and he had all this gear, and I was thinking, okay, that's too much for me. I don't know anything about gear. I need somebody who's a little bit more calm. And then Al replied to me. He was from Chicago, and yeah, I think you could tell us.
Yeah, so I was basically on Craigslist. I just like getting cheap instruments. I like seeing what's out there. So I was like, I'm just gonna see the musician, like that section. And then Eva had a posting, and she had like a photo of like one of their shows, and I was like, hey, they sound like cool people. I'm gonna reply. I didn't hear back. I actually followed up, and then she was like, oh yeah, can you come in on Tuesday? It came, and then the members were really cool, and then we started like hanging out. Like we started playing, but then we started hanging out. We did everything. We would go to like the drive-in, the drive-through. We go to shows. They would just show me like their hometown. So in order for us to kind of like get to know each other, we hung out a lot, and that helped a lot. You know, just because like every trip that we take to shows, you know, it's kind of like an adventure kind of experience. So that's kind of how I integrated. We were just like doing everything together, just like friends. So
That's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and let's just put an end to this fun anecdote. I think it's really a funny story, but there's something beneath it, right? Because there has to be some anxiety about it's brand new people, you don't know who they are. As you talked about, you go in and you search, oh, are they normal people, and you find a Facebook page or something. How does it, having you replied and now you have to go there and do the audition, how does that feel?
I mean, it's a little bit like they throw you just out in the water, and you know, so as you're like playing, you're kind of like listening to everything and seeing how everyone's reacting. Like you're basically just very aware of your like your surroundings, and then you just have to like see if you actually feel comfortable. And I felt comfortable immediately.
For me, I came at an odd time where everyone was kind of in and out of the band, so it's like I never knew if I was going to be stable or not. So it's just like, you know, I had to play by ear during that whole time, and it was like I think a year where people were just coming in and out, and then, you know, that's how I got in.
But the whole people coming in and out, what did you guys do to still have that core where you felt you could be creative together? Because a lot of disruption can really mess stuff up.
Yeah, it's really true, and that's what was happening. Every single time somebody would leave the band, I thought it was the end of the band. But in the end, I realized that we do have people who like our music, and no matter how many times you change your lineup, or if somebody changes an instrument, the people will still like the music. Like they'll still like the songs. If the songs are there, the core of the songs are there, it doesn't matter who's playing them, but we lost so many musicians, but right now I ended up with, it was good because I ended up with these musicians, and that's what kind of like kept it going. And yeah.
What do you guys then do now to make sure that, you know, you are protecting this core of musicians that you've become?
Well, one thing, we rehearse regularly, and one thing for sure now, I know that these people are serious about music, because before we didn't do this as work. We're doing this as work now, and before it was just kind of like party time and just be a band and like play shows, invite our friends. But once it started getting serious and we started doing serious shows and like touring and stuff, we realized, okay, we have to take this seriously. We need people who are serious, people who aren't just gonna be wild and drinking. So, and I ended up with I'm really happy that I ended up with such good musicians who are also serious about it and professional and happy. Happy.
A perspective I want to explore a little bit as well is yours, Ben. You are the newest member into the group, so I would love your take on the whole, adjusting to a group dynamic. Are you doing anything actively to integrate yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I've been following this band for years before I joined, and so it's really cool to be able to be in the band. I think I'm really trying to make an effort to blend my sound into theirs. They've been together so long. I mean, Al has been here since 2014? 2013. Okay.
6 years next month.
6 years, exactly. So I'm entering into a long-established kind of group dynamic. And so dynamics musically are one thing. I make sure I'm out of the way with my bass when I need to be. Yeah.
But what about on a more personal level? Are you guys going out for dinner together, or is it just, hey, yeah, thanks for rehearsal, see you next week?
Yeah, no, we absolutely do. We get sushi sometimes, Walmart. Apology
Walmart.
wine.
We
drink
because you never heard
Apology wine is a big thing.
Yeah, I have a Pink Floyd gap in my knowledge. I'd never listened to Pink Floyd, and so Jake was pretty mad about that. And so we had a session of just Pink Floyd and wine. Yeah, and wine. A lot of wine.
And wine.
Yeah.
I have a final question for you guys. If I think that there are a lot of people out there who are going through the same thing, different parts of a country, the world, coming together. It is LA. It's where many people go to pursue their music career. If you have to give some advice to the people who are going through the same stuff you did, what would that be?
I think before you make a commitment, because I feel like being in a band is kind of like being married, and before you get married, you really want to get to know who you're getting married to. So I would say really get to know the person before they join the group. And also, it's good not to be too close, because in the past we'd hang out all the time, and that was, I think, one of the problems, because then we started having friend problems that would bring into the business, because our band, I feel like it should be a creative environment, but we should have like a business mentality. That way we all respect each other, and I think just like it's kind of like a marriage. You have to get to know each other before committing to the band.
Oh, you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
I guess being like multi-talented too, like being able to have another trait that you're good at. Like for example, like I'm decent at sound, so I can help do sound for the band. And then like Al plays a bunch of instruments.
Jasmine helps me a lot with the crafts and artwork and like ideas, moral support, and Ben. He's the newest addition.
I'm off the hook. I don't need a skill yet.
You'll discover what Ben can do.
He's
along the road.
multi-instrumentalist too.
But it helps because then you're not limited to one thing you can do. Yeah. You'd be able to like throw all your talents on like the table and be like, okay, what can I do?
Yeah, so you can kind of divide and conquer and say, okay, so Ben might be good at social media because he works at NPR.
Yeah.
So that might be you could explore that, Ben.
Yeah. And then like, for example, like she helps me do lights when I do sound stuff.
Yeah.
And then now they're starting to get into like helping set up. So it's like, then we're doing other things. We're working on other projects too, where we meet other people in industry. And then like that sort of goes from there. So it's sort of like keeps going and going. It's like domino effect in a way.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, even though I said that, we like do everything together, like with time we learn to give each other like the space we need. Like in the beginning, yes, we hung out and stuff, but now like they won't hear from me for like 5 days. And then like we'll come into practice, but it's not like we lost any closeness, Like we know each other well, we've gone on trips, but after time we learn to, just give each other the space we need.
I think the most important thing is to not give up on music. I thought my music career was done when I left college and wasn't playing bass anymore. I never would have thought that I'd be playing, for fun and as a business and all these things. So I think not giving up and not stopping playing, even if it's casually, even if it's for fun only, is really important.
Guys, It's been a pleasure talking to you. We were happy you wanted to come and perform in our little studio. So thank you so much for that. And have a great rest of your Sunday.
Thank you.
Till you